Hi, everybody. Welcome to Building My Legacy podcast. I have with me Rylee Meek. He is founder and CEO of Social Dynamic Selling System. It is a fascinating system, and I think for today, in what we're struggling with, it's even more interesting because he's learning how to adapt a model to what we're living with. He responded, this business grew out of a response that he made to Craigslist. And he learned a selling system from a selling system from them, and he had $675, something like that, not much, when he started the business. And he's now over 9 years grown it into $100 million business. So he has obviously done a tremendous piece of work. He's created something that has met a need within business and the community. And so it's really fun to bring him to you and to hear what it is that he does. So Rylee, I'm going to let you take it from there and explain what you do.
Hey, Lois. Absolutely happy to. Thank you. Thank you for the intro. So to be exact, it was $673.
Oh, 73. In between,
so
I was.
I'll never forget that number. That's ingrained in my head. So, but yeah, it was like you said. I had responded to an ad on Craigslist. At the time, I was kind of soul searching, looking for my next opportunity. I was I had some highs and lows in my life prior to that, but I had just come off really a failed business venture, and hence one of the kind of low times in my life. And I was on a quest. I was just searching, and I think we all go through a journey. Life is a journey, and being open to opportunities, I think, is important. And of all places, Craigslist, right? The ad simply said, work 3 days a week and make $10,000. And I'm like, yeah, right. But the inquisitive nature within me, I had to inquire upon it, and that's when I was first introduced to this new concept of selling more one-to-many versus one-on-one. And this gentleman asked me to come down to a presentation. It was a couple-hour drive, but I thought, I'm not doing anything else, so I'll go down and check it out. And it really did blow my mind. I walked into this room, and he had 20 to 25 people within the room. He delivered a presentation. They were all, eagerly listening. He fed them a nice, steak dinner or chicken dinner, whatever it was. And at the end, he simply asked for an appointment to meet with them one-on-one. And he ended up getting like 7 or 8 appointments out of that. And that's what really rocked my world, because my whole, sales career, entrepreneur kind of path prior to this was definitely, I think we're all in sales, no matter what business you're in sales. But I realized, as much as they, tout that when you are in sales and you're 1099 commission only rep, like your income is uncapped and you can earn what you're worth. Like I had kind of bought into that. However, I had the realization that wasn't really true, because there's only, you can only do a certain amount of presentations in a day, right? And depending upon your product, sometimes it's an hour, 2, maybe 3-hour presentation. So I realized that wasn't really true. And, I could only earn the amount of, I could only earn the amount that allowed me to, do the presentations. And so what really rocked my world was that this guy delivered a presentation to a group, one-to-many, and then he still had 7 actual interested people that wanted to learn more, wanted to find out price of his products. And so that's what really blew my mind. I was like, wow, if I could do 1, 2, maybe 3 of these rock star presentations and kind of, sift the sand where I'm not, chasing people around, but they actually are interested in what I have to offer. I could really not only leverage my, my time, but even my marketing dollars and my effort spent prospecting and seeking out, potential leads. And so I didn't get a wink of sleep that night. My wheels just kept spinning, and I thought, man, what could I sell through this? And I took some of this gentleman's concept and I added some of my own. And within a few months, I sent out some postcards. Didn't know anything. I thought it was going to be easy, right? And I sent out some postcards, posted my first event, and I ended up making a few sales out of it, which allowed me to, I put this on a credit card, right? Because I didn't really have any money. But I had a vision, and, I believed in myself. And I made a few sales that allowed me to pay for my next, presentation. And I just kept reinvesting back into my business. And then within 6 months, heck, we did 2.1 million in sales. And that was this would have been back in 2011.
Wow.
And from there we started to, I started to recruit and added, more sales reps. We grew throughout the country. That next year we did 12 million, another 12 million the next year. And that's really when I had this realization that it was a system. We had a well-oiled machine. I was able to step back and work on my business, and I had 26 guys delivering presentations every single week in different markets throughout the country. And that's when I had the realization that it was really a system. And we started to offer different products, different services. I set up numerous businesses, and through that process now it's been 9 years or so, and we've generated over $100 million, like you had said, solely using this dinner seminar format. At the core of what social dynamic selling is we host dinner seminars, really all throughout the country. The product is essentially irrelevant if we can get a group of people, our target client, our avatar, in a room, and we can deliver a presentation that takes people on that emotional journey to ultimately not feel like they're being sold, but to be able to be educated enough to make a wise decision that's best for them. And I think that's really what we've been able to do and hone in here for our clients, is being able to help them convert these leads and these potential sales into actual real customers for them.
So there's a huge amount that has to go on to make it successful, right? Filling
Sure.
the room takes effort, and that's a skill set. Then following up on that room is another skill set. So
Absolutely.
that has to be part of your process.
Yes, absolutely. And this is what I've learned over the last decade. And prior to taking on clients and coaching entrepreneurs, business owners, sales reps how to do this, when I realized we had this system and we were selling all these numerous different products and multiple different industries, I realized I had come home on a Wednesday night. It was another successful sales week, and financially everything was great, wonderful in our life. We had built a beautiful home. We could pretty much do what we wanted, but I remember this evening, that Wednesday night that I came home, my wife and daughter were already asleep, and I just had this feeling of like unfulfillment within me. And I if anybody who's, any of your audience or listeners that have made a lot of money, or it doesn't even have to be a lot of money, but even if you realize that it's not really about money, right? It's about your purpose and, what your passion is. And I had zero passion for any of the products that I had sold. Like I didn't care. What I had a passion for was providing for my family, right? So I was making myself do that. So I just thought back to, what is it that I really love to do? And it was about people, and helping people develop the best version of themselves. And I thought back to, the early days of struggling and selling one-on-one, and constantly that feast and famine lifestyle of where's my next lead coming from? Where's the next sale coming from? And I thought, man, what if the system is the actual product here? Because if the product that we're selling is irrelevant, could I teach these other business owners, these entrepreneurs that have a passion for their product, but they may not know how to take it to reach the masses? They not know how to, have a true sales and marketing system in place? Because if you build it, they do not come. That's not true. I don't care what anybody says. You have to have a system to take it to the public and to the masses. And you can have the greatest product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, you're not gonna, products don't sell themselves. You have to have a true system in place. And so I thought, man, could I teach these other people, business owners, entrepreneurs, sales reps, managers, how to do this system? And so I just started to write, and all night I just started to write everything from, how do you identify your true client avatar? Not only demographically, but geographically as well. And starting with the end in mind, then okay, how do we reach them? How do we craft a message, an invitation that would want them to come learn about our product or service? How do we negotiate pricing for dinners with these restaurants? How do you set the room up? Is that actually important? Is it classroom style? Is it half rounds? Is it there's a U shape? There's all sorts of different ways. So I just started to write down everything that I had learned over the previous years through a lot of trial and error, a lot of stupid mistakes, but I was able to learn from that. And so I just put that all down in paper, which ultimately now is a book, an academy that teaches people how to do this system from A to Z. Scripting on how to negotiate with the restaurants, on how to take the incoming calls that are RSVPing, how to make your confirmation calls, to how to design your presentation, to how to ask for the appointment, to how to follow up and confirm the appointment, or what do you do with the people that don't give you an appointment? Are they just gone, or is there some ongoing efforts that could be done through this process? And so we put that all together, and as you said, yeah, it wasn't easy like I had originally thought. Like, I'm just gonna craft a message here, send a postcard out, and hope people show. Because marketing today is definitely different than it was 9 years ago. And I think one of the best things that we've been able to do is stay on that forefront of, still utilizing, offline versions like direct mail. We do a lot of direct mail. We're doing a lot of Facebook ads now with what's going on in the world today. So we've been able to, stay in front of that for our clients, so they have an opportunity to still sell, no matter what the current situation is, that we're dealing with this, stay at home. I don't want to call it pandemic, I guess we'll call it, that we're all dealing with right now. So.
Right. So right now, okay, so you've adapted part of the system to an online. How do you have a dinner meeting online?
Yeah. So this was devastating for us. But as I try to always look at everything glass half full, and really realize that it's been an amazing few weeks that we've been able to, it seems like the key word I hear everybody say is pivot. And what, prior to this, most everything that we had done was through live events in restaurants that, and it was a domino effect as these restaurants were closing down in each state, on marketing dollars that we had spent, a few $100,000, we ended up having to cancel 107 events because of this, which is obviously devastating financially. But we're entrepreneurs, right? And we don't give up. And so I looked at, immediately went to work. We hired a software designer essentially, and we built out this amazing webinar format, this online system that we're still, we can still do all the forms of marketing, direct mail, Facebook, SEO, whatever it is, but we're directing them to a live webinar, right? An online webinar, which is becoming so more mainstream and readily accepted by folks now, just considering we're all cooped up in our homes. And so it's been a great time for us to, really focus in on that and perfect this. And man, we're doing some amazing things right now online. And, with that hit that we took financially, we're going to come out of this stronger than ever, not only for our companies, but for our clients, because now we have multiple versions of having a continual, our kind of tagline is that a predictable, a sustainable, and a scalable selling system, no matter where you are, throughout the country.
So actually, Rylee, with as you look at going online and doing webinars, you've gone from one to many, many, right? Because you can reach so many more.
Absolutely.
Through a webinar. So the
Absolutely.
growth is perhaps larger.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, there's different components to hosting a webinar. There may be different tactics, we'll call them, or skill sets that we'll teach. on just because there's not necessarily, this is still a social interaction, but it's not that we're sitting down and breaking bread together at a traditional dinner seminar. But yes, you are able to truly reach the masses, especially if your product or your service is not, limited by, geographic issues, but we can still hone in. If we know that your target audience is in Edina, Minnesota, and we have a mile radius, we could still hone in on that and target folks on there. But if we can open it up to wider, areas, say you're selling a digital course or, just consulting that can be done from afar, I mean, that opens the floodgates to the masses that we can actually market to. But I still think that the key thing is that we're speaking the language of that true client avatar in our marketing efforts. So, we want to get specific to really selling what they're looking for and the benefits of the benefits. We really call this. So, if your target market is, females, we're not gonna use rough language like we would to a man, right? So it's just gonna be different. So we want to really, starting with the end in mind of who are we trying to target and how do we craft that message to get them to take action, to want to listen to what you have to say, and why you are positioned as that authoritative figure within that industry. And then that's what we really help our clients do. So when they're able to come on and do their presentation, they're in a comfortable environment. They're not intimidated. Speaking in groups is the number one fear, sometimes even more than death, right? People fear speaking in public or groups of people. And so we help and coach our clients to be able to overcome those fears. And we teach them some, I call them ninja-like strategies to really be able to be the best version of themselves when they are, speaking or on stage or on a Zoom, a webinar, whatever it is, speaking to their actual clients.
So Rylee, are there clients, people, businesses that are better served by a service like yours? Does it matter?
Yes, so I always say the products are relevant because we can create a presentation to take them on that emotional journey, to create that environment that allows the potential customer, to make that buying decision. However, I wouldn't necessarily recommend, what we do. Now from a webinar standpoint, building an online funnel, things like that, those are wonderful for smaller ticket items, right? Like a $48 real estate course, something like that. But when we're sending direct mail and bringing people to live events, buying dinner, it costs, that's going to take some marketing dollars to do it. So in that format, we're usually recommending that somebody has a product that has a margin, right? A profitability of, at least $1,500 to really get a proper return on investment, right? And so we always start out with, again, the end in mind. What do we, what is your client acquisition cost now? What would it look like utilizing our format? And when I say $1,500, I mean, that doesn't necessarily have to be a one-time, like I make one sale on it. That there could be a lifetime value to a customer, right? So if you have an initial entry product or service, but then you have a value ladder that you can maybe a lifetime value of a particular customer that could be thousands and thousands of dollars. So it would maybe make sense to do something with a smaller ticket item product, but it is recurring, or it's ongoing. So we do an analysis of all of our clients. Initially, we get on a strategy call essentially to take them through that process first before we would suggest using our model, because it might not be the right thing for everybody. We're not the perfect process for everybody. I think we've perfected our process, but there could be other versions that make sense for different companies based upon what their product or service is. But that's why we offer, a free strategy call, just to make sure that it would make sense. So we're not wasting not only time, but dollars, because it doesn't do me any good to have, somebody spend money with us from a consulting standpoint and then not get any return on investment, because we're all of our clients are long-term customers, but more importantly to me, we're friends. Like we have a relationship, an ongoing relationship, because the only way that I succeed is if they succeed, right? They've got to have sales. That's the only way I know that they're going to be coming back and utilizing our services.
So Rylee, you also have mentioned in the past that when you take somebody on, you look at doing 8 events together, because it takes 8 consistent events to begin to really see that measurable success.
Mm-hmm.
Would you explain a little bit about that and why 8 and not 7 or 4?
It's kind of like the, why isn't there a 7-minute ab video?
Yeah,
like, what's so special about 8, right? The reason we suggest 8 is really because through this process, it takes some time to set these campaigns up, right? So right now, I'm making the decision right now for our companies if we are going to be mailing for the first week of May. I've got to be able to make that decision right now, because there's print, there's, it's got to go to the postal service, it's got to hit homes 7 to 10 days in advance in order to get them to take action, right? We've got to negotiate, we have to book the restaurant. So that is a process, right? But that's all the stuff that we do, we can handle on the back end on more of our done for you programs. But the reason we suggest commit to 8 is because if you do a successful campaign, and when I say campaign, it could be 3 events off of one marketing, piece, one invitation that we send. But if we do that and we have a great success, right? Now I can pull the trigger on the next one, but it's going to be another 4 to 5 weeks until I can do my next event. And we want to be consistent, because we're going to be learning a lot through this. And especially if it's your first time of ever doing something along these lines, we want to be consistent, because we can make adjustments on the fly. Meaning, what happens when we greeted people this way? Did we use handouts? Did we not use handouts? What happens when I say this during my presentation versus this? Should I have served dessert? Could we get that? There's a lot of things that we can adjust. And that's what we give guidance to all of our clients. Not even that we have to be there, because we track everything. And I love numbers and data, and I love to be able to, measure things. And if you're not measuring your sales process, your marketing, all the way through the close, the sale, you're not doing yourself a service, right? All those numbers need to be measured in order to understand, where things are succeeding or failing. And I really think, in these live events, we've kind of developed an offline funnel. If anybody's online on social media, you always hear there's online funnels, right? But really, we've created the offline version where, the 6 measurables that we're tracking. And like I said, this can be from afar, is our response rate, right? So if I send 5,000 direct mail pieces and I get 50 responses, I know I have a 1% response rate, right? So we're tracking that to, and so that would be them calling in to RSVP. And then once they RSVP, we're always going to be calling them back to confirm the day before. Okay, so we can give the restaurant proper numbers, prepare food, things along those lines. And some people may fall off, right? And so if what my person is saying or not saying is causing them to be turned off, we want to be able to adjust that. And then there's the actual show up rate to the event, to the venue, right? So if some people called, they confirmed, but they didn't show, what happened there? And then we do our presentation, and it's obviously the appointment rate. So if I have 20 people that I'm talking to and I only get 2 appointments, is that good? Or is that bad? And we want to be able to make sure we're measuring that to, the next day we're meeting with our potential clients. Do they cancel prior to that, right? And then for those that I actually meet with, do I make the sale, right? Did I close the deal, we'll call it. But then the last one, which is always that dreaded, cancel number. We made the sale, but then they felt pressured and then they were turned off, right? And they canceled the next day. So we're measuring all of those because from afar, we can give guidance and direction to our clients on where they maybe should make some adjustments, right? And so this is different in any, if you're selling a service, it's going to be different than if you're selling a tangible product, right? So, but we're able to track that because we've sold both. And I still do this on a weekly basis. This isn't something that, you hear those who can't teach. It's definitely not that. This is what I do, and what I geek out to is being able to do this for our clients, and then for my own companies as well. Every week I'm delivering presentations, whether it's in person or for the past few weeks now, just like this on a video call. So I think tracking those and measuring those is going to be the most important aspect with any marketing campaign, not just ours, of course. But I think if you're in sales, if you're in business, you better be tracking and knowing your numbers, so you can continue to be in business, right? Especially right now with what's going on.
So Rylee, just so I'm clear, with your clients and your done-for-you service, you start with the whole process of knowing who the client is, identifying it, targeting, and then you have the dinner, you have the sale. Do you manage that whole part, including closing the deal, or when do you pass it back to the client? What's the interface there?
Yeah, we can. So what I mean by that is we have an a la carte version, and then we have a done for you version. Okay. I don't take on any more than usually 3 or 4 done for you versions a year, just because it's. I mean, I have a team, but I take those campaigns very seriously, and I'm usually the one that's delivering the presentation and working with their sales team, and so there's a lot involved with that. So depending upon our engagement level, would be where we would. And what I mean by that is if our clients say, you know what, you just handle the marketing aspect of it, we'll handle the presentation. We'll take the phone calls, or they can take the phone calls, and we make that our proposals essentially lay everything out on what they can do or what we can do, and then that allows our client to make an educated decision on what's best for them. So for example, we had a solar client that they had a product they could fulfill, but they didn't really have somebody that was comfortable speaking in front of the room. So we literally flew in, wrote the presentation, because we have a template. So I just need to know a few key things about the product, and I can design a presentation because I know how people make buying decisions, right? Give me the features of it, and then I'm going to sell the benefits, right? I don't care. I don't need to be a professional, an engineer to understand how the sun hits the panel and converts DC into AC. I don't know. Nobody cares about that unless you're an engineer, of course. But they want to know what's it going to do for them, and that's what I mean by selling the benefits of the benefits. And I was able to. I flew in. We delivered the presentation. We asked for the appointment. And I think we had 2 back-to-back presentations, so we had close to 40 to 50 people that we ended up getting 13 appointments out of that. The next day, I don't know how they did the proposals or anything, so I had one of their guys come with me, but we went into the homes the next day, back-to-back appointments, and we ended up doing a couple $100,000 in sales that day. Again, so we can definitely do that. But that's usually where it's more of a partnership basis, where we're going to be taking a percentage of sales and things like that. But what we suggest is us handling the marketing component of it, and then having one dedicated trainer, right? So we can train the trainer, and then they're able to work with their sales team, and getting them on board with how to deliver presentations, things like that. But sometimes it's just, one-man show. We'll work with them directly. And some of our clients have 7, 8 sales reps where we'll do, a sales training day for them. So it's really just dependent upon the engagement level with the actual client that we're working with.
Got it. So now that you've done both digital as well as live dinners, how is it comparing? What's the close rate difference? What's the difference in the business potential? I realize it's still early, but what are you seeing in terms of trends?
Yeah, so it definitely is early, and I always like to have a true test of and data. But certainly online is usually we're having to get double the amount of reservations for people that'll actually show up for the event. And part of the reason too why I love offline, and when I say offline, I really mean direct mail, is because it's getting somebody to take action, and it's not interruptive marketing, right? So what I mean by that is if somebody gets an invitation, we're either capturing their attention right then and they're going to read through this and then make a decision, versus online, you're on Facebook, banner ads are popping up everywhere. People, that's interruptive, right? They're not searching for that. And
Right.
it's kind of can be annoying. But they may see, oh, cool, click on it and then register and then never remember again, right? So they
Right.
forget about it, or 3 days pass and they're like, whatever, I don't care about that anymore. So definitely the registration rate versus the show up rate is way better offline versus online. But I think too, it does depend on product and service, and the follow-up system is key in getting a higher show up rate. So I can't necessarily say one is better than the other. I think dependent upon your product, it could work hand in hand together. And I really think that's what we're learning through this process,
Interesting.
is what we're going to be offering our clients, coming out the gates here once life is back to normalcy, is we've built out a wonderful product suite for multiple different versions dependent upon what's best for them. I'm no longer limited to not being able to host webinars. And for our guys, when we're back to normal, we're still going to be doing live dinner events, the first part of the week. And then for those that are, have proved themselves and want to do more events, the ability to earn more money, we'll do marketing for them to deliver webinar events. So, they're at home and still able to earn money in the process.
My guess is after this is all over, your dinner events will just skyrocket because people are going to be eager to just get out and be with other human beings.
Absolutely. And that's, that social dynamic aspect is, I feel that people are going to be craving it like no other. And, we may not shake hands, we may bump elbows instead, but it's still the need for human interaction is going to be more than, the need for it's going to be more than ever. And that's why, we're getting, inquiries daily for people that, why would I look at doing this? It's like, if you're looking at doing this right now is the time to learn the process and understand, the moment we can start to host events and restaurants again, it's going to be gangbusters. I'm so excited to track those numbers once that happens, because I think our response rate and sale rate is going to just be, better than ever.
Yeah. So you talked about solar as one of the industries that you work with. Other industries that you find this particularly good for?
Yeah. So again, it's really just the profit margin within your product. So we've done this in the home remodeling industry, solar. We've done this in the medical industry.
Which kind of medical? Is it plastics, dermatology? Is it
both, actually?
okay.
Dermatology, pain management, regenerative medicine. Chiropractors do workshops, cosmetic surgeries, orthodontic stuff, travel industries, investment clubs, business opportunities, franchise sales development, things like that. So yeah, really a large spectrum, and that's why I say the products are relevant. We need to make sure that you have a proper return on investment when you're spending these marketing dollars. We want to make sure you're getting that return on investment, so you can continue to market, right?
Any industries for which this is not useful?
Yes. For sure. And I think I used that $48 example. If you have a $48 widget, no existing lifetime value to that customer, like you make one $48 sale and you can't sell them anything else, this is not the system for you, right? Hire a ClickFunnels guy and build out something online to do that, right? That's would be my recommendation,
right?
Because you'd have to make 300 sales to have any profit to be able to continue to do this sort of marketing. So that's it. Definitely, again, if it's just like a low ticket item, which is nothing bad about that, but it is just you're going to want to go about it a different way versus actual group events.
Got it. Rylee, where are you at with your course that you are making available? Is it available now?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It's called the Social Dynamic Selling Academy. So, and really why I made this course was because, some people to engage with us, we do we call it a dynamic strategy day, right? Where we spend an entire day kind of peeling back the onion of this, in teaching, the process of what we do. And we obviously, we have to charge for that, but some people may not have that ability. Cause I remember back when, I had that $673 in my bank account. So I wanted to have a course in which it's me, on film. And we have our scripts, we have our presentation templates, we have all of that we make available all online, for people that may not have the ability to engage with us, but they need to get started. So I wrote a book called Food for Thought that teaches people the process, and then the ability to buy into the Academy, which is a digital course. And like I said, like right now is the greatest time to go through something like that, because that's pretty much what we all have right now is time. And, being able to prepare yourself for doing these events, when we're back to normal.
Rylee, we have used our time so fast here, and thank you so much. And for those of you who are listening, if you want more information about the Academy or work that Rylee and his group of people do, please email us and we'll make sure that information is gotten to Rylee. Thank you so much, Rylee, for your time and for all your wonderful information.
Absolutely, Lois. This has been fun. Thank you.
Yep. We'll see you next time at Building My Legacy. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell button above. Leave comments. We'd love to hear what you think. And visit our other social media links as well. Thanks much.